After 8 years, the Nintendo Switch is approaching its final days, and from its ashes will rise the Switch 2. But before you put away your Switch in the closet for one last time, you should make sure you haven't missed your chance to play some overlooked gems. While everyone with a Switch has probably played The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and of course, Animal Crossing's New Horizons, there are dozens of other Switch games that still shine bright on Nintendo's hybrid console that you may have heard of, but didn't get around to play. We get it. Time is limited. Budgets might be tight. There are too many games. There are far too many games. But go back and check out these Switch games before the Switch 2. You won't regret it. Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. An origin story for everyone's favorite demon-slaying witch, Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon is a gorgeous puzzle platformer presented in a beautiful storybook art style. But fans of Bayonetta's action combat will still find classic button-mashing combos here as well. Ultimately, Bayonetta Origins is a worthy addition to the series that may have been overlooked given its prequel nature and drastically different art style.
You must return, then send that vile girl in your stead!
Cheshire? What's wrong?
The Dynasty Warriors Musou genre is a perfect template for all manner of crossovers, including The Legend of Zelda. While the Age of Calamity might not be considered canon to the events of the beloved Breath of the Wild, there's something incredibly gratifying about taking on the role of either Link or any of the other Breath of the Wild champions and defending Hyrule from thousands of invading enemies. If you're a fan of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom but haven't ventured into Age of Calamity, it is worth a trip back in time. For years, fans have dreamed of a long-awaited sequel to the Nintendo 64 title Pokemon Snap, and they got their wish in 2021 with the new Pokemon Snap for the Nintendo Switch. It's very much a situation where new Pokemon Snap gives you more of everything you loved in the original, from more Pokemon to take snapshots of, to plenty of secrets hidden throughout the various biomes you'll traverse. Now, while the original N64 Pokemon Snap game has its die-hard fans who no doubt eagerly played the sequel, new fans deserve to check out one of the most beloved and unique Pokemon spin-offs ever. After 13 games, Kirby and the Forgotten Land is the first fully 3D Kirby game in the entire series, and it takes full advantage of the additional dimension. While Kirby is still able to suck in enemies and objects to gain their powers, the new 3D environments are fully explorable, letting Kirby roam free for the first time. This makes new abilities like turning into a straight-up car especially useful for exploration. While Kirby has always been a reliable mainstay in the Nintendo stable, it'd be a shame to let the Switch era pass without playing one of the best Kirby games in the entire series. There's a reason why the Paper Mario sub-series is so beloved. Between the charming art style and the puzzle RPG style gameplay that departs from the platformer action of the mainland Mario games, the Paper Mario series is for anyone who has a soft spot for unique aesthetics, like me. And thanks to a fully explorable open world, the Origami King might be one of the most beautiful Paper Mario games in the whole series. While combat isn't as satisfying as past games, the Origami King makes up for it with visual splendor. We'll scream it from the treetops until everyone finally listens. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is one of the best 2D platformers of all time, and more people need to play it. Now, it is not for the faint of heart though, as Tropical Freeze's fast-paced platforming challenges will test even the most hardened Super Mario players. You'll frantically climb up crumbling icebergs, bounce across jiggly cubes of jello, and do so much more on DK's quest to retake his home island. It's rare and extremely fun to face this much difficulty in a Nintendo game, and Tropical Freeze makes it worth your effort by pairing its challenge with gorgeous graphics, an amazing soundtrack, and incredibly tight controls. All platformer fans owe it to themselves to try out this modern run and jump masterpiece. And if it's too hard, funky mode, baby. The most successful Fire Emblem game of the Nintendo era was Fire Emblem Three Houses, but you shouldn't overlook the second Switch game, Fire Emblem Engage. Narratively, Engage isn't as cohesive as Three Houses, but it makes up for it by bringing back fan-favorite characters from past Fire Emblem games through the multiverse. Ooh. Who's heard of that before? What's more, tactics RPG fans will likely find Engage is actually more of a throwback to old school SRPGs with smaller maps for tighter combat situations and a difficulty that can ramp up to punishing levels if you're feeling like you really want to test your strategic acumen.
Now, it's time to engage.
A Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem crossover, but set in the backdrop of Japan's idol music culture? Bro, sign me up. While this might not be what anyone might have expected when it was announced, Atlus would develop a Fire Emblem SMT crossover. The poppy, colorful mashup that we got deserves your time thanks to a breezy mix of Fire Emblem and SMT RPG combat and a bubblegum art style that's worth the trip, despite the localization toning down some of the heavier themes around fame and fan culture. Astral Chain is one of those experiences that you need to play to truly understand its greatness, though anyone who has played any of Platinum's other action games will at least have an idea of what to expect. The combat is fluid and flashy and has enough variance when swapping between the summonable living weapons called Legion to keep things interesting from start to finish. Meanwhile, the bosses are challenging enough to test your mastery over each of these unique familiars. Outside of the high-octane combat, you'll be exploring the cyber-futuristic world and investigating incidents and solving cases. And then there is a whole astral plane to explore that is filled with platforming battles and puzzle challenges to overcome, and which feel almost like old-school dungeons from other Nintendo franchises. The only thing keeping Astral Chain from being more widely recognized is its exclusivity to the Switch. While Rabbid Peach might have turned heads as a funny meme, Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope is no joke. This strategy RPG that combines the world of Mario and Ubisoft's Rabbids is pure fun thanks to the action-focused combat that lets you combine different characters and upgrades for some massive combos. Whether you're a Mario fan who's never played a Rabbids game or, more rarely, the Rabbids fan who's never played a Mario game, you weirdo, these two unlikely flavors turn out to be pretty great together, actually. Unlike Paper Mario the Origami King, the Thousand Year Door is a ground-up remake of the beloved GameCube release, but as one of the most beloved Paper Mario games in the entire series, its redone visuals, music, and gameplay improvements means it's now one of the best Paper Mario games of all time. Come for Mario's swashbuckling treasure hunt to save Peach and the town of Rogueport, but stay for all the charm and gameplay excellence the Paper Mario franchise is known for. If you've never tried out one of Mario's paper-based spin-offs, this is where to begin, hands down. F-Zero fans weren't sure how to feel when the series' long-awaited return after 20 years of dormancy was a 99-player battle royale, but F-Zero 99 surprised us all and, thanks to a healthy amount of post-launch content updates, has turned into a top-tier entry. Racing against 98 players is exhilarating, and even though some of F-Zero's trademark precision is gone, it's replaced by the thrill of slamming into your opponents to devastate their health bar while taking careful precautions to preserve your own. And strategically planning when to use the faster but limited Skyway can lead to incredible comeback finishes that get your blood pumping. F-Zero 99 wasn't the game anyone was asking for, but it was somehow the one we needed to get the series back on track. Oh, get it! Pikmin 3 was such a delight when it was released on the Wii U. It had been 9 years since Pikmin 2, and many fans wondered when the franchise would finally make a return. Thankfully it did, and though it wasn't the massive upgrade like we eventually got in Pikmin 4, the game looked great and was a fun addition to the franchise that expanded it in important ways. Pikmin 3 introduced two new Pikmin types, Rocked and Winged, better controls of your non-Pikmin protagonists, all of which were new to the franchise, and a solid amount of extra content to sink our teeth into. This was all made even better with Pikmin 3 Deluxe on Switch, which added even more content, co-op, the story mode, and the Piclopedia, which was notably absent in the original release. Pikmin 3 in general is also one of the funnier entries in the franchise, as the 3 leaders you control all have distinct personalities, and it was always a treat to see how they would describe citrus lumps, oranges, or Cupid's grenade, cherries. Pikmin 3 Deluxe may not be at the top of most Pikmin fans' lists, but it is still worth exploring to collect fruit and make that sweet, sweet juice. No Pikmin collection would be complete without it. It makes sense that Captain Toad Treasure Tracker was one of the first games Nintendo brought over to the Switch from the Wii U. This is a delightful, ingenious little puzzle platformer where Captain Toad must reach the end of the level without being able to jump. The reason? Backpack's too heavy. We've all been there. It's not the most complex platformer, but every level is a beautiful brain teaser and great to play in short bursts and on the go. A perfect Switch game, basically. While the Wii U was full of overlooked gems in its own right, this is one of its biggest treasures that made its way to the far more popular Switch and where it deserved its own recognition. No one talks about Game Builder Garage, and it's such a damn shame! If something like this had existed when I was a kid, I would have devoured it, throwing myself fully into its interface and creating gobs and gobs of bespoke games to play and show off. Nintendo basically built a simplified game engine to teach people to build games. It's right there in the name. But it's not a coding tutorial, nor is it a simple level editor like Super Mario Maker. You progress through Game Builder Garage by completing charming lessons on building different types of games and what those types of games involve. Basically building algorithms with the charm of a Nintendo-created interface. If you've ever installed a game engine on your computer only to throw your hands in the air after a few YouTube tutorials, buy this game. Play through it. Build a few games in it. Then move on to something bigger. You'll be ready. Across 4 games, Monolith Soft has created some of the biggest, most beautiful open worlds ever realized on the Nintendo Switch. Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3, as well as the spin-off Xenoblade Chronicles X, are what happens when you take old-school Japanese RPG sensibilities and marry them to modern-ish technology. The results are sweeping, operatic stories about warring civilizations, ancient gods, cool freaking robots, and even cooler swords, with a breathtaking open world to explore fully. Combined, the Xenoblade games will likely take hundreds of hours to finish, and it will be worth every minute. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe is the perfect counterpart to the Forgotten Land, which we already celebrated on this list. Go check it out, watch it again. While the Forgotten Land is a 3D adventure primarily focused on single player, Return to Dreamland Deluxe is one of the Pink Puffball's strongest 2D outings, with the best multiplayer the series has ever seen. Tearing through levels and enemies with 4 Kirbys on screen is a blast, and Return to Dreamland's huge amount of levels and collectibles you find will keep you and your friends entertained for a very long time. It might be the best way to introduce new gamers to platformers too, as you only fail if player 1 dies, and players 2 through 4 can drop seamlessly in and out at any time. The Deluxe Switch version also adds an entirely new epilogue and a wide selection of returning sub-games from across Kirby's history, complete with achievements to chase and costumes to unlock. Unlike some of the other games on this list, Ring Fit Adventure was a bestseller for Nintendo. The question, though, is how many of you stuck with it through the very end, and not just until you forgot about your New Year's resolution? Well, you better get back to it, because while it's an ingenious way to get active, the actual RPG element of Ring Fit Adventure is no joke. Using the fitness ring to venture forth and defeat a bootylicious, evil dragon sounds absurd, but Ring Fit Adventure does its absolute best to keep you engaged every literal step of the way. Power up your character and your body in Ring Fit Adventure if you haven't already. Metroid Dread. The Nintendo Switch has quietly become the home of Metroid games. Who saw that one coming? Between older Metroid games available on Nintendo Switch Online and a splendid remaster, more on that later, Samus rules the Switch. Nothing showcases this more than the Switch's original Metroid game, Metroid Dread. A throwback to the older 2D Metroid games, this 2.5D search action game breathed new life into the series by reminding fans just how scary these games can be, thanks to the terrifying Emmy machines that hunt Samus relentlessly through the claustrophobic corridors of Dread, earning the name and more. While Metroid might not immediately come to mind as an overlooked franchise, consider that Metroid Dread, while one of the best-selling Metroid games in the series, has only sold 3 million copies, which is less than games like 1-2 Switch. 1-2, come on, guys! That doesn't even make sense. With Metroid Prime 4 looking increasingly likely to be Nintendo Switch's swan song and maybe even a Switch 2 launch title, maybe? What better time to check out where it all started? But make no mistake, Metroid Prime Remastered on Switch isn't just a simple re-release. Oh no, my friend. The graphical overhaul needs to be seen to be believed. Metroid Prime is one of the best video games of all time. Anyone who says differently is just trying to get a rise out of you. Locked away on GameCube and eventually the Nintendo Wii, this absolute classic seemed like it was destined to live on only in our fondest GameCube memories. But then one day, out of the blue, Nintendo said to us, friends, today you can play a remastered version of one of the most incredible and important games of all time, and you can play it on your Nintendo Switch. And wow, did they ever hit it out of the park with this one. It is not just some up-res version of the GameCube game, or even the Wii version. Sure. It's a proper remake, graphically upgraded to modern standards with tweaks to the controls and gameplay to make it feel right at home on the Nintendo Switch. Better still, unlike so many modern remakes, it was only $39.99, which is unheard of in an era where games from the last generation get a shiny coat of paint and a $70 price tag. No thank you. Everything that made the original special made its way to the modern era expertly. The sense of isolation, exploration, and tension all made the leap to HD brilliantly. And yet, Metroid Prime Remastered was, by all accounts, a sales disappointment. Really? I'm just disappointed in you for not having played it. Yes, you. These are our favorite Switch games that we think more people should check out before the coming of Switch 2. Heck, with the Switch 2's reported backward compatibility, it's probably the best time to try them now and pick up the journey when the Switch 2 is released. For even more hidden gems like me, keep it right here on IGN.